Hi, David.
Hi, sweet cheeks. How are you?
What? Is that a new thing that you're trialing?
Yeah, what do you think?
I hate it.
How come?
I just didn't, I felt very confronting to me.
You do have a sweet pair of cheeks.
Do you mean my face cheeks or my butt cheeks?
Oh, up to you. It's in the eye of the beholder.
I don't think either of them are that good.
Today on Flightless Bird, I'm meeting an American woman who's digging a tunnel under her suburban home. And I'm just wondering what you think of people that dig tunnels under their suburban homes.
Is this a particularly American activity?
It's a great question, Hayden.
Are they kind of like a mole people over there? That wasn't something that I knew about them.
No, look, I got to be honest. There are a lot of tunnel diggers all over the world, including myself in New Zealand as a child, but this is one particularly enthusiastic woman who happens to be an American.
I fully support and endorse it. And I think there is something uniquely human about wanting to dig a big tunnel and just disappear. Because you just need to be in a tunnel. You need to be where it's dark and peaceful and no one can bother you and no one can call you, talk on Flightless Bird. And it's beautiful and dark and wet. And you just want to be in a tunnel. I totally get it. I think it's a really beautiful thing that she's doing.
I'm David Farrier, a New Zealander accidentally marooned in America, and I want to figure out what makes this country tick. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast from the beginning, you'll have heard me talking about my childhood a little bit and how I like to dig tunnels. Well, a few years ago, I started watching a woman on TikTok who also liked tunneling. Specifically, she liked tunneling directly under her house in Washington, D.C. And as me and millions of others tuned in, she became known as Tunnel Girl, slowly constructing a tunnel system under her house, into the dirt, and then through solid rock. This tunneling was not without controversy, people becoming concerned she was doing all this digging without any kind of permit, a kind of human mole let loose under the neighborhood. Over the last few years, it's been my dream to meet Tunnel Girl and go into her tunnel. So I'm very excited to say that not too long ago, I jumped on a plane to Washington, D.C. to make all my dreams come true. So pick up a spade and start digging, because this is the Tunnel Girl episode.
Flightless, flightless, flightless bird touchdown in America. I'm a flightless bird touchdown in America.
Now, Rob, people could accuse this podcast of getting a bit niche at times. And I say, why would you think that? Why would you possibly think this could ever get niche at all?
You dropped a bomb last week. You said you had a girlfriend.
Yes, I did.
And then I saw this on the schedule as our next release.
Oh, you thought there was a link?
It feels like maybe you found your soulmate. Tunnel Boy finds Tunnel Girl.
That would be
like
the ultimate. That would be the ultimate. What are the kids call it? Meet cute.
Yeah.
It'd be the ultimate meet cute. No, I'm not with Tunnel Girl.
All right.
But I cannot deny there's a certain sort of
kinship that you
there's
feel?
a kinship.
Yeah.
There's a bond, and I felt it. And I mean, I don't fly many places to meet with specific people, but she was one who I was like, I have to meet this person.
Well, let's not rule it out, and people will turn this off if we just say right now this doesn't end and you guys.
Oh, we have to. Do we have to keep that kind of illusion?
Let's dangle that a little bit.
It is a bit
more
insulting to my girlfriend to say that, but I'm sure she'll understand for the pod.
Yeah,
for the pod, have to keep this mystery open. Will it happen?
Yeah. I mean, we can address it maybe at the end of the doc.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Sounds good. Did you know about this woman at all before I mentioned her?
No, I had no
Tunnel
idea.
Girl?
I don't keep up on too much on people digging tunnels.
It started happening during COVID. It was a project that she started doing, and she just wanted to start digging, and she got massive on TikTok, massive on Instagram. Is there any part of you that understands this? Did you ever dig as a kid?
We would make igloos.
Okay.
When it would snow, because it would snow a ton in Chicago.
Oh, that's kind of like digging adjacent.
Yeah, you'd make a little den that you can go hide out in, and
yeah.
I always did enjoy that. When I was a kid, digging was more reserved for treasure hunting.
Oh, like looking for things in the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to dig for that.
Okay, but you wouldn't want to ever put yourself into the ground?
No.
Okay.
No.
No, that's fair. And I should say at the top, it's very dangerous digging into the ground. Like, as soon as you mention this, there are like multiple headlines of people digging in the sand, and the sand can cave in very easily. And so with any kind of digging, dear God, like, be careful.
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely be my concern. I think I'm too claustrophobic.
Weirdly, I am too, but the digging a hole doesn't tap into that claustrophobia for some reason.
Well, so are you just digging a ditch, or are you like tunneling?
I get into it a little bit in the doc, but I was into tunneling.
Okay.
Yeah, which can get dangerous if you don't reinforce it. There's actually a video doing the rounds recently. I don't know if you've seen it, of these kids digging at the beach.
I'm not subscribed to all these
All these
tunneling
videos. There's a lot of
channels that
tunnel.
you are,
There's a lot of
seems
tunnel
like.
chat going on.
It's not hit my algorithm the same
But
way it's hit yours.
There's these 4 kids at the beach, and they're quite close to where the waves are coming in, and they've dug a tunnel, as kids do at the beach. And a couple of them are kind of, I'd say, up to their waists in sand, kind of like they're in the sand. Then the tide comes in, and the water, it washes in. Instantly, they are like stuck because the water just creates a suction. Suddenly the sand's wet. And you sort of see the whole group of kids and adults just clocking that, oh God, they're stuck.
Yeah, I'm starting
And
to panic.
so, yeah, this amazing, it's one of the best videos on the internet because it has a happy ending. They get the kids out. But for a while there, you've got adults like pulling on these kids, and they just had their legs under. Like, you kind of think that, but once that water comes in, terrifying.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, but it's a reminder, if you dig, because I used to dig in the sand a lot, but I'd never go down deep. But don't start digging tunnels at the beach. If that's the main lesson in this story, is like, don't dig tunnels in sand.
Especially tunneling, not just a hole.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. Just a quick deviation from what we talked about last week. We mentioned, I think it was in the Home Alone episode, about Ding Dong Ditch.
Yeah, I saw this.
Awful.
I've almost sent you the story a couple times.
Yeah, a few people sent it in. Just because explain what the game is and then explain what happened.
You just ring a doorbell and you run away. And
Very
it's
simple game.
annoying to the homeowner
Simple
because
gag.
they get up, they think someone's there, and then no one is.
So there was a story this week
In
out
Texas.
of Texas. 11-year-old boy did that. Got shot doing it.
The guy came out and like fired rounds off at them though. Like shot him multiple times, I think.
Yeah, you don't know whose doorbell you're going to be ringing, and you don't know what that's going to do to the person inside. I saw that and I was like, I didn't even know what Ding Dong Ditch was until you told me about it
And then
in that
2
episode.
weeks later.
Here's like a particularly awful story about it. Well, maybe we should just get into Tunnel Girl.
Well, I do have a question. In America, we talk about digging.
Yeah.
And that you dig so deep, you'd eventually come out to China. Was that a New Zealand thing?
It was always, I don't know why, but China was always like the place you would turn up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm not even sure that was straight through the
Oh,
earth.
absolutely not.
For
No.
it's definitely not for New Zealand.
Absolutely not. No, I think China was probably just that thing where, like, in the West, we were just like, what's some, like, faraway place? And everyone's just like, you end up in China. That was the whole thing. But no, we had exactly the same thing. You dig far enough. And I think that's kind of why I got fascinated in a way with what this woman's doing, because technically, like, when you buy a home,
Mm-hmm.
like, you own a home,
Yep.
you own technically right down to the center of the earth. That's you.
That's how deep you own?
I assume so. Well, actually, I'm just talking shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't-
why does it stop at a certain point? Like, if you own a plot of land, that you own straight down as well. So these tunnelers,
guess.
I'm like, good on you. You're using the full scope of your house, you know?
Right. I mean, you do have bedrock at some point, but I guess
You
you can
absolutely do.
keep digging
I was gonna
through
Google
bedrock.
it. How deep do you own?
How deep do you own? What a great
It's a great
Google
something.
query.
Hey, Google filled in the rest under your house. This is from landforsalestore.com. Don't know how trustworthy this is,
Seems
but I'm
pretty
just
trustworthy
answers my
domain.
question. Oh my God, it's a very long article. But in short, there's no real limit enforced by courts. That's the line. So you can just keep going.
I would imagine there's like sewage and stuff going.
At some point, there's pipes.
Yeah, which maybe aren't all owned by you.
This is
Because
true.
is that also, that's not the sky. It's not, you don't go up. You don't own up as much as you want.
Apparently, this is on a very trustworthy site called Reddit. You also own at least 365 feet above the ground.
But not the airspace.
Not
above your house.
not airspace. I just like the idea that people don't often think about, like, you've got all the space below you. Why not play down there? Why not dig a tunnel?
Well, I do know, like, there are permit restrictions within a city. You can't go past a certain height, like on our property.
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted, we couldn't just build like a 6-story house.
Well, no, because then all your neighbors get incredibly pissed at you.
Yeah.
But like when you're underground, who are you bothering really down there?
I don't know this exactly, but there's an amount of livable square footage you're allowed to have on your plot of land.
Oh, right. So that limits like how sorts of
I would
things.
imagine that, like, it doesn't matter. I don't think you can just keep adding down, and I'm just thinking of like Resident Evil though. They've got that hive.
Oh, they really do. That was awful. There's so many articles about this, and I'm scanning them all, and none of them are like particularly clear.
Some fan, hopefully, some listener will write in and let us know how off base we are. But I do think, at least in LA County,
okay,
your living space is only allowed to be a percentage of your actual lot size.
Right. So I guess it depends whether you're living in the tunnel as well, like what the tunnel use is.
Yeah, which if it's like a permitted space, then yeah, maybe tunnels are exempt from the square footage of your house too.
Well, Tunnel Girl definitely ran into some of these issues when she dug her tunnel. So here we go. Chapter 1, No Reason. When I was a kid, I got really obsessed with one thing and one thing alone: digging tunnels. Growing up in New Zealand, this mostly happened at the beach. Small tunnels dug in the sand. Small, but big enough so that if I ducked down, no one could see me. At one point, I got more ambitious, digging a tunnel in our backyard, down through the grass and into the dirt, that ended up weaving its way under our driveway, which looking back seems quite dangerous. That said, my dad actually helped out, helping to reinforce the walls with wood so his child wouldn't get buried. I just remember loving this feeling of hiding away under the ground. I remember how cool it was, and the smell and the texture of the dirt. Other kids wanted to be up high in tree houses. Not me. I wanted to be 6 feet under. I don't really remember why I wanted to do this. I rang my mum back in New Zealand to see if she remembered.
I'm just trying to work out, you were probably about 8 when he tunnelled under the driveway, so you'd be quite small. It wasn't big enough for an adult to go in.
Do you remember what reason I gave for wanting to dig that tunnel under the driveway?
No, and there wasn't sort of a reason why you wanted to do it. You just wanted to do it.
I just wanted to do it. As good a reason as any, I guess. I hadn't really thought about this phase in a while. I guess I grew out of it. It's been 34 years since I dug that tunnel in my backyard in New Zealand. But it all kind of came flooding back to me when I heard about an American woman called Carla. Chapter 2, Tunnel Girl.
You've seen the viral videos of a woman digging a massive tunnel under her home, that home in Northern Virginia. This project has gained millions of views online, including from the city of Herndon.
I think Carla first turned up on my Instagram feed, or maybe it was TikTok, about 2 years ago. It was just videos of this woman in a construction hat beginning to build a tunnel under what appeared to be a very suburban home. She had a really specific, precise way of talking. And not to stereotype people who dig tunnels, but she just didn't look like what I expected. She dressed like she was about to go out to a restaurant, dresses, makeup. And instead, she was digging in dirt and drilling through rocks. Watching her videos, I realized a whole fan base had built up around this woman. So I called one of her fans, Monica, just curious why, like me, she had started watching these videos.
I actually can't remember. I feel like I've always just known about her. I was trying to think about this. You know, I live close to her, and so probably some of my friends who live nearby told me about her, or maybe I heard it in the news. I still don't really know why she's building it, but at first I thought maybe it was like a prepper type thing, like she was building a shelter in case of emergency type of situation. But It's very fascinating to me because she seems interested in really learning how to do every aspect of this herself. And so much of it she's done herself.
And Monica brings up another aspect of the story that's also intriguing, because towards the end of 2023, Carla announced she'd never gotten permission to build the tunnel under her house. She made the local news again.
The project is an underground tunnel system. Its main chamber is 22 feet below ground with a 30-foot entrance. Now, Kala, who told us today that is not her real name, goes on to say in her most recent video that she has worked with an architect to submit a set of drawings for the permit application. She says an engineering assessment shows the structure of the tunnel is sufficient and stable.
The whole fact that she never got a permit, I feel like as a homeowner, I know that in our county, you have to get a permit to even change out an outlet. And to think that you could dig a hole into your house and not have to ask permission is pretty crazy.
I suppose digging a tunnel under your house does raise some safety issues. You don't want your entire house collapsing into the ground. And I suppose it's a strange thing for the neighbors too.
But, you know, when I first heard of her, I thought she was building like a tunnel through the neighborhood or something, but it really is.
There's the unsettling idea that what if Tunnel Girl is extending her tunnel under the whole neighborhood? Who knows what she's doing down there? And the more you think about Carla, the more questions you have.
So that's another thing that really fascinated from the beginning was like, how did she think she was going to do this forever and get away with it? Because it's got to be so loud. She's jackhammering and digging and dumping rock. Part of me is just so impressed with her. And then the other part of me is like, if she was my neighbor, I would be calling code enforcement. So now she's digging deeper. And the latest ones I just watched yesterday, she said she's had 12 dumpster loads of rock removed recently. So she's down there with jackhammers digging more out. And each dumpster is a couple tons worth of rock.
Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Bombas. Now, here's a fun fact. Kids are back in school. Vacations are over. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. And it's officially the start of cozy season, which means it's time to slip into some comfortable, delicious, wonderful Bombas socks. You know Bombas, they're the most comfortable socks. They've got slippers, they've got tees, they've got underwear made from premium materials that actually make sense for this time of the year.
Think merino wool that keeps you warm when it's chilly, but cool when it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Supima cotton that's softer and stronger and more breathable than regular cotton. Even rag wool, the thick, durable, classic cozy sock that you'll want all fall. I'm particular about my socks. I like them to be breathable. I like them to be stylish. So Bombas is perfect.
I really like my hungry caterpillar socks. They're probably the most favorite thing I have in my entire wardrobe. And also another really good thing, every item you buy, Bombas donates one to someone experiencing homelessness. Over 150 million items have been donated thanks to customers like you.
And it's not just socks that they make. They design slippers that make it hard to leave the house.
Or hard to leave the recording studio, am I right?
Exactly. Head over to bombas.com/bird and use code BIRD for 20% off your first purchase.
That's BOMBAS.com/bird, code BIRD at checkout. Support for Flightless Bird is brought to you by Shopify. Now, imagine this. It's midnight, 12 a.m., and you're lying in bed scrolling through the new website you just found, hitting the add to cart button on an item you've been looking for this whole time. After 50 minutes, you decide you've done enough damage to your wallet and decide to check out. You remember that your wallet card is in the living room. God, you don't want to get out of bed. It's way too comfortable. And just as you're getting ready to abandon the whole thing, that's when you see it, the purple shop button. The shop button that has all of your payment and shipping information saved, saving you time while you stay warm and cozy in your little beautiful bed.
I do really love that Shop Pay button because,
it's a good
just
button.
like you said, I'm on my phone. I want to buy something. I can do it quick just by hitting that button.
I mean, part of the wonderful thing of living in this modern age is that it's very easy to get things, and that purple shop by button is just another way that makes it very easy and gives you time to do other stuff in your life that you want to do.
Yep. Shopify is the commerce platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names to brands that are just getting started. They give those brands the leg up from day one with hundreds of beautiful ready-to-go templates to express brand style. And you can forget about the code because it's all in a template for you.
So if you've got a business, Shopify is a really good thing to get on board with. Now, if you want to see less carts being abandoned, it's time for you to head over to Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/bird.
Go to shopify.com/bird.
That's shopify.com/bird. As me and Monica kept watching the videos, so did millions of other people all around the world, just watching this woman dig her tunnel deeper and deeper. She called it her underground tunnel system, and the 8-year-old version of me woke up again. I needed to see her tunnel. Chapter 3. The house, the basement, the sub-basement. It was a 5-hour flight from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. I'd reached out to Carla about 6 months ago, explained what I was doing, and we'd set a day to meet. I pulled up to her house at about 11 a.m. on a Sunday. The neighborhood was quiet and mellow, lots of 2- and 3-bedroom homes built on quarter-acre plots, with lawns and some lazily planted gardens. As always, some American flags hung from some of the porches. Carla's house was down a long driveway, and as I walked to the front door, there were hints at what lay ahead. Lots of tools lying around, and lots of rocks. And there she is at the door, Carla. That weird parasocial thing happens where I feel like I know her, but of course I don't.
All right,
Okay.
So this is the older part of the house. It was built in 1973.
Carla welcomes me inside and gives me a can of flavored sparkling water for the journey ahead. It's a fairly normal home, nothing in particular to speak of. Then as we step through a doorway, the style changes.
This is the newer part of the house. I built everything past this point myself. So I cut into the wall here.
So yeah, the space we're ducking into didn't exist before.
Correct. So yeah, everything here is completely new, and you'll see the style is entirely different.
It is, it's like we've morphed into a different type of house.
Yes.
I hadn't realized before now that she'd started building above ground way before she'd started building below. Is this kind of where it started, you building this new space above ground before you went down?
Yeah, so I pretty much started running out of space. I constructed this. This thing is 4 stories. There's this one that is a partial basement, and then there's a sub-basement under here, and then there's 2 levels up. So this is the sub-basement.
Okay, so we're walking down a spiral staircase here.
Yep.
I can see a lot of rocks. This is where things start to get surreal. I've just followed Carla down a black metal spiral staircase that takes us under the floor of her house. There's exposed brick and just piles and piles of reddish-brown rocks in the corner. There's a loud hum, and Carla tells me she's installed a large ventilation system in her tunnel to make sure dust's removed and to remove any buildup of dangerous gases. In one corner, I see what looks like a very industrial wheelbarrow, also piled with fresh rocks.
Yeah, so this is the mine cart that I use for getting all the rock out of the mine. And it's a pretty powerful machine. This has been used to move 200 tons. So all of the rubble needs to be removed with a dumpster. Living in such an urban area in Northern Virginia, there is no way to get rid of fill. No one will take it. So I work with a dumpster company. The dumpster is dropped off for 2 weeks at a time, and it's 12 cubic yards, and I need to fill that 12 cubic yards in 2 weeks. And then they bring it to a local quarry that's been shut down, and they're filling it in with rock.
And do they know what the project is that you're working on, or are they just like, somehow she just brings us a lot of rock?
Originally, they were like, somehow she's bringing us a lot of rock, but I do believe they are aware of the project now due to the intense media coverage.
This whole time she's been talking, my eyes have been drawn to a certain part of her underground lair, an opening in the brick that descends down into the earth. This is what I'm here for. This is the tunnel.
So it goes down about 30 feet, and then you reach the antechamber.
Okay, well let's walk down. Chapter 4. The Tunnel. After handing me a hard hat, Carla takes the lead and walks down towards the antechamber, whatever that is. It's a gradual descent down a straight path. She's made brick walls down this part of the tunnel, so you can't see any dirt or rock. The floor's covered in shallow wooden stairs so you don't trip or slide, and she's run power down here so it's supermarket aisle bright. We reach the end of this part of the tunnel and there's a hose running with water. Some kind of pump system she's got going on, because of course when you dig down far enough, you tend to hit water. I turn a corner and the tunnel keeps descending, much steeper now, and I realize Crocs were probably a bad choice. There are now way more rocks visible, rocks that have probably been here for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. Okay, and we're descending down. I can only imagine how hard it was to tunnel into this, to tunnel through it. It wasn't the dirt I'd obsessively dug into as an 8-year-old. This was hard rock. And then it all just sort of opens up into this large space with a big dark pool of water lying at the bottom. Carla's shadow cast large on the underground lair she's made over the last 3 years. Oh my, so this is a huge space under here.
Yes. You can see the different layers of rocks, which I like very much, because I love geology. It is surprising how much dense rock weighs. It's about 150 to 200 pounds per cubic foot.
It's kind of peaceful down here. But that's not to say that danger isn't far away. I remember in one of her old videos, she spoke about a fire breaking out, and I realized it was in the space we're in right now.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous type of fire to be underground in an enclosed space. Fortunately, I did have a fire extinguisher nearby, and I was able to put it out quickly, but there's a lot of hazard. It was very terrifying. The biggest life lesson that I embody with my life, and I like to share with others, is that failure is a better teacher than success, and it is by things going wrong that you learn the better way to do things. I've had a number of malfunctions or issues or problems that happened during all of my projects, but the tunnel specifically documented on social media includes a fire that I had underground caused by welding sparks, floods caused by failed pumps, equipment breaking down, and all of those have been excellent learning opportunities and allow me to improve my safety practices or to improve my process.
When did you get the idea to do this? Do you remember that day or what you were doing?
It was during the pandemic, and I was also incredibly bored, and my physical shape started deteriorating because I wasn't really getting a lot of exercise. So I developed some arthritis, and I was gaining weight, and I was like, I really need a project. I need a big, heavy project.
I was talking to my parents and they found some old photos of me when I was a kid, and I used to love digging, like down at the beach into the sand. My dad actually dug me a tunnel that like went a little bit under our driveway and kind of reinforced that. So when I was a kid, I really liked the idea of tunnels as opposed to, say, a treehouse or something like that. Did you have any of this urge as a kid, do you think, or was this just something that came completely separately later during the pandemic?
I grew up in the deep countryside, and I was always fiddling with stuff and inventing and creating designs. As a child, I definitely was interested in geology and rocks and specimens and mining, and I used to play games and build little mines, really little tiny mines. And I always liked digging.
Chapter 5, The Epic of Gilgamesh. I'd argue that Carla and me, we're not alone in our love of digging. Well, maybe we're slightly more alone than most, but historically humans have always toyed with the idea of being under the earth. There's this book I really love called Underground, written by a journalist, Will Hunt. In it, he writes, one of humanity's oldest recorded stories, the Epic of Gilgamesh, which was inscribed on a tablet 4,000 years ago, is a tale of descent. Gilgamesh is traveling to the underworld to find the secret of eternal life. To reach the beyond, Gilgamesh, whose real name translates to he who sees the deep, must travel through a long, dark tunnel. It's an ambiguous tunnel, lacking any concrete detail, leaving us unsure if he's moving through a dark passage in the earth or a dark passage in the mind. Hunt keeps writing, getting a bit philosophical about it all. Each time we peer into the mouth of a tunnel or any other hole in the ground, we feel a flicker of recognition. We've seen this space in our dreams, on the edges of our consciousness. When we pass through this portal, we know that we're leaving the clarity of the surface world, withdrawing from the linearity and logic of ordinary consciousness, slipping into the fluidity of the unconscious. Psychiatrists have also weighed in on this tunnel stuff. Anton Tock teaches at the Sigmund Freud Private University in Vienna and thinks tunnel digging can be interpreted as a desire to return to the peace and safety of your mother's womb. I consider ringing up Pam again to get her take on this, but decide against it. Some things are best left unexplored. Of course, there are simple reasons for tunneling too. I think it's part of an obsessive personality, which I definitely have. And other hobby tunnelers I've read about online also talk about the health benefits, which sounds kind of silly but also makes total sense. Like building a tunnel under your suburban home is a good workout.
Yeah, it's good exercise, and that's one of the reasons that I've been doing it, is to keep myself physically active. It keeps me young.
As for me, I can hardly believe I'm standing a few stories underground right now, at the bottom of Carla's tunnel. It's cool down here. We're totally removed from the incessant heat above ground. I inhale the smell of the wet earth, and I know this sounds weird, but I honestly remember exactly why I did this as a kid. It just feels good to be down a tunnel. I don't know what else to say. Chapter 6. As below, so above. Leaving the tunnel, Carla takes me around the back of her house. It's bright and sweaty up here, and bugs are biting my skin already. None of these problems existed underground.
This is my castle building blocks that I mined from a local quarry.
Above ground, Carla tells me she has this whole other project going on. She points to a carefully stacked pile of very large brick-like stones stacked against the original part of her house. So you're taking rocks out, but you're also bringing other rocks in.
Yeah, correct. Most of the rocks that I've been digging out from the tunnel are low-quality siltstone. There are layers of beautiful hornfells, but most of the rock is siltstone, which degrades and weathers easily, so you can't build with it. And one thing that I would like to eventually do is build a castle facade on the older part of the house. And I was fortunate that a construction site opened up next to a nearby quarry, and I've been splitting all of the boulders and then breaking them down into small blocks that I'll be able to use for construction. So that's another second major project.
Because the first one isn't enough, right?
Yes.
Next to the early stages of her so-called castle facade, she shows me the pulley system she's made, an elevator she's constructed to get rocks out of her sub-basement and above ground, where the truck can take them to a local quarry.
Most of the underground projects I'm sure you've seen, they use heavy equipment and hydraulics. So an unusual thing about this one is that I've constructed a lot of smaller, older-fashioned equipment to handle the rock.
I still have so many questions for Carla, so we grab a couple of plastic chairs out of her garden shed and go sit under a tree in her backyard. If my sense of direction is right, the tunnel is not too far away beneath where we're sitting.
Professionally, I am in the IT field. I work as a program manager. I do start working on it immediately after getting home, and I have a good 4 hours on it every day.
Is it loud when you do it? Like when you're mining down there, do people hear it? Or is it like, is the house shake? What's it like?
It's not very loud. The electric jackhammers don't put out that much vibration, and it's far enough underground that you don't hear that on the surface at all. There is noise when I'm dumping the rock from the elevator, but that's like maximum twice a day during working hours or during the early afternoon, and it's spread out over months and months and months. So if you came to this neighborhood looking for noise, you'd have to come probably 100 times before you heard any.
IT by day, tunneler by night. Her job brings her no attention at all. Her hobby has made her TikTok famous.
I do get recognized a lot in public. I just went traveling across Canada a couple weeks ago, and a few people just in the middle of the wilderness. I'd be at the side of the road collecting some rock specimens, and someone would be driving down the highway, and then they'd stop, pull over, and say, "Hey, are you who I think you are?" And I'd be like, "Probably."
That has to be surreal, right?
It definitely, for sure. To be recognized in foreign, exotic, strange locations.
Like Canada.
Like Canada. Surprisingly, 40% of my followers on TikTok are not from the US. I have a very large contingent of followers from Canada, from Australia, and from New Zealand.
I bring up the fact that she's not your typical social media influencer or content creator or whatever you call her. For one thing, she's not doing makeup tutorials, she's building a tunnel. And her presentation style is so unique. She's not your usual shouty, overly emotional, put-together American presenter.
I have always been very shy on camera since being a child. I hated even having photographs taken. And it was very awkward to develop an on-camera presence. But how I navigated that was focusing mostly on the work, not spending a lot of time on camera, but doing voiceovers and showing the work that I'm doing, and then having small clips of myself talking, but maybe 5 seconds, not much more than that.
The thing is, people online gravitate towards things that are unique and genuine. There's so much bullshit, sometimes you just need a woman who's digging a tunnel.
At the very beginning, I started developing a small but dedicated follower base of people who are primarily electricians or engineers or people who are in the mining industry, contractors, and I was stunned at how quickly they found my channel and how quickly they were engaging with it. But that's the power of the TikTok algorithm that I think is very unique to TikTok, is you put something out there and it finds an audience very quickly. As the tunnel got deeper and the project was more sprawling, then it started going viral. And that's something I did not expect, where there were people from all swaths of society that were suddenly engaged and interested in the project.
Chapter 7. The World of Hobby Tunnelists.
I probably spent over a year thinking about it before breaking ground, because there are different ways of tunneling. If you have solid, strong rock like I fortunately have, you can just dig straight into it and you don't need to worry too much about shoring. But if you have a lot of soil or sand or clay, it can be a lot more complicated. But fortunately, the rock has been extremely stable. If you've seen Colin Firth in the UK, he has a similar approach where he builds it in segments and then he reinforces it with steel. So I was thinking, okay, I might do something similar.
If you're into tunneling, you'll know Colin.
The ladder, of course, of it being stainless steel, they've got no corrosion, it's got no damage on it or anything. The only thing I've changed in the tunnel, as I've got to call it, is I've lacquered the walls and I've added 4 vents into the floor.
He started digging under his home in the UK about 10 years ago now. His tunnel is a little too slick for my taste, too fancy. Watching his videos makes you think you're watching a home renovation show. But there are a ton of hobby tunnelists throughout history, way before Colin and Carla came on the scene. Starting in 1906, William Schmidt spent nearly 4 decades building a 2,000-foot tunnel through straight granite in the El Paso Mountains. It sits on the National Register of Historic Places in California, and you can still visit it. And Seymour Cray, the guy behind the Cray supercomputer, the so-called father of supercomputing, was also really into digging tunnels. During the 70s, he built a tunnel under his house, saying somewhat whimsically, "While I'm digging in the tunnel, the owls will often come to me with solutions to my problem." It's not all whimsical. Sometimes tunnel digging turns dark. Back in 2019, 28-year-old Daniel Beckwith was sent to prison for 9 years, convicted of second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter. Daniel had somehow found a 21-year-old online and enlisted him to help build a tunnel under his house in Bethesda, Maryland. He'd make him wear blackout glasses so he didn't know where his house was, and drive him there, and then the digging would begin. A fire broke out in the home, and the 21-year-old was stuck in the tunnel where he died. News reports said the victim had worked in the tunnels for days at a time, eating and sleeping underground. Like the fire Carla had talked about earlier, I'm reminded that tunneling can be dangerous work.
Primarily, I'm using electric jackhammers. Some layers of the rock are too difficult to break, and I got a tip from one of my followers very early on to use Dexpan expanding grout, and it is like a cement that you can pour into holes and it will expand, and it acts like a slow activating dynamite.
Talk of dynamite, however slow it is, has me thinking about what Monica was talking about earlier, about those news reports about Carla being shut down for doing all of this without a permit. Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Helix. Now, Helix has been on board since the very beginning of Flightless Bird, and I've been sleeping on my Helix mattress for the same amount of time, and I have a wonderful sleep.
Yeah, early into your American travels, you had a bad back, and you weren't really living here fully yet, so I don't think you were quite ready to invest
Yeah,
in
because a mattress is a commitment as well.
Yes, but then we got Helix as a sponsor, and you got a Helix mattress, and I think I haven't heard you really complain about your back since then.
I haven't been moaning. I got a mattress that fits my sleep patterns, which is wonderful. I took a quiz. It turned up at my front doorstep, and I've been sleeping soundly ever since.
Which kind of mattress did you end up getting?
I got the Midnight Luxe, a beautiful, comfortable, luxurious, very thick. I feel like I'm like up on my little ivory tower, aka my bed. I really, really love it. So you can go to helixsleep.com/bird for 25% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/bird for 25% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know that we sent you.
That's helixsleep.com/bird.
Chapter 8. The Internet Turns on Carla.
Around the fall of 2023, the story started to blow up on social media way beyond what I was hoping for. There were people from all over the world very invested in this project, and there were a lot of amateur sleuths or other internet personalities that started digging and trying to find more information about the legality of the project and the permitting status. And I did have some people reach out to the neighbors and was like, "Are you aware what's going on here?" And the neighbors are like, "Not really. Something is going on, but we're not sure what it is." And they were like, "Well, you might want to contact the city." So it was a neighbor who contacted the city, but it was encouraged by online personalities. Out of state.
In short, as Carla's reach grew, so did her popularity. But with popularity came skepticism.
I had a small amount of that when the controversy first came out that I was building without a permit, and there were a lot of people who came out negatively, and there was a tremendous amount of scrutiny. Everybody was calling the city, and the city had to get their legal team involved, and it was just really scary. Everybody was trying to cover themselves because of the extreme negative scrutiny.
I wondered why people got so fired up about this in particular. Of all the things to go after, why this one person digging a tunnel? Why are people getting angry at someone building a tunnel? Do you have your head wrapped around that?
Building a tunnel and my personal projects, I would hope would be apolitical and just something fun to do. But unfortunately, the era that we live in now, everything is political, and there is a political aspect to building an underground bunker, and especially doing it without appropriate government approvals and permissions, and that activates the libertarians that are like, yay, this is great, stick it to the man. And then the other side is like, no, this is endangering the community, this is inappropriate, and it needs to be stopped, and it needs to be punished. So it becomes very political. Everyone is trying to scrutinize every single comment I've ever made to try to determine my political affiliation. And that's another dark side of the internet that I found, is that in today's climate, if somebody has the wrong political beliefs, they are no longer human. And it doesn't matter what bad thing happens to them. So people will go after you really hard, and they'll be like, well, it doesn't matter because this person is evil. The social media warriors found my Twitter account. I'm not very active on Twitter, but I liked 2 or 3 Trump tweets before because I thought they were funny, and they made that into that I'm a hardcore right-wing extremist. I still get that by some people. But otherwise, there's been a lack of political involvement from my side. I'm not a very political person. I don't identify strongly with either of the political parties in the U.S.
A reporter reached out to some neighbors, alleging that because a lot of them were immigrants from low-income backgrounds, they were hesitant to complain to the authorities.
I do live in a predominantly minority neighborhood, so there was this whole line of logic was that this is a racist project, that it is being done purposefully in a minority neighborhood where people are not likely to contact the authorities, and it's putting all of their lives at risk, and it's creating these environmental health hazards. And then from that, it became a rumor that I was threatening to have people deported. And obviously that never happened, but that was a rumor that went around, and that got millions and millions and millions and millions upon millions of views. And I got so many hate comments and hate mail, people coming around and taking pictures of the house with bad intentions.
See, that's scary if people are actually turning up to your house.
Yes, it was. It was terrifying.
Carla hunkered down for a few weeks, and she got into the logistics of getting a permit to build. To get approval from the city, she did the maths, crunched up the physics, drew up the plans, and worked with an architect. After spending thousands and thousands of dollars, she got her permit to keep on digging. Upstairs, she takes me into a room strewn with gear and equipment. She grabs big rolls of paper in the corner and unfurls them, proudly showing me the approved plans. Chapter 9. When does a tunnel finish? Do you have in your mind a clear endpoint for this? Because there's a lot of ground under where we're sitting right now.
At this point, it's an open-ended project with a few closed ends. So I have a current permit that goes to the extent where I'm at right now. I'm going to finish that space, and it's going to be complete. I do plan to extend it with a phase 2. How far I extend it is open-ended at this point because, to me, the journey is more interesting than the destination. I enjoy these projects very much, and I don't really yearn for them to be completed.
I've never thought about this. How deep can you go? You own a property, down to the Earth's core? How far can you go?
Theoretically, there's no end. Practically, you're not getting anywhere close to the core due to the cost and the
heat.
and the heat, and there becomes more and more hazards and complexity as you mine deeper. Water will be more of a problem. Toxic gases may be a problem. Pressure in the rock, like stresses that are built up in the rock, become more dangerous. And then, of course, there's all the ventilation, and the electrical becomes more complicated to get it very deep. Mine is a very shallow depth mine. It's only about 32 feet in total depth. And there aren't many of those hard rock mining hazards at that depth. But if I do go significantly deeper, it becomes more complex. But ideally, what I would like to have is to extend the tunnel into the backyard, under the backyard.
You know what? It seems like you're someone that likes a challenge, and all those things you list, I just feel like you're going, oh yeah, let's take these on.
I won't disagree with that.
She pauses for a bit, and I think she's going to tell me more about phase 2 in the tunnel, or maybe phase 3, but she has another thing on her mind.
One thing that I would like to build is a tower, which I think is a perfect complement for a tunnel. You have a tunnel underground, you have a tower up in the air, and I can do experiments up in the tower, electrical experiments.
Now, Rob, while you're listening to that, I could just see your brain. It was filled with, which is the ultimate reaction I wanted, filling with questions.
So many puns in that doc, too.
Yeah, that was your heaven, right? Getting to the bottom of this.
Let's dig into this.
All unintentional, completely unintentional, went over both of our heads. So I hope you got some of like the majesty of what she's doing.
Yeah.
It's a combination of like very inspiring, very batshit, very specific. And I just feel very lucky to have I was in her tunnel.
And just how passionate she was about doing it.
Oh, it consumes everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had written down halfway through if she had a job, because I was like,
yeah, how are you
seems
funding
like
this?
This is all that consumes her. Is she somehow monetized?
No, so
this?
So the only way she's monetized it, and I didn't have this in the documentary, so after we got out of her tunnel and went down that little interview,
you went through her bank statements.
You went through her bank statements. Went inside, and she has started
tunneling into a vault.
Tunneling into a vault.
Yeah,
this is all a big. That's part 2 of this documentary. No, she's been shining up and smoothing out rocks from her tunnel, and you can buy a rock from her tunnel. And so this is, as you can see, she signed it.
Looks like wood.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's kind of and she gives you a little certificate of authenticity, so you can buy this.
Wow.
I think it's $30. Colors Mining Co. Item, Tunnel Stone Cube, Northern VA from Carla's Tunnel. It's got an item number, 000782, signed Carla, dated 25/08/03.
I mean, it's a nice block.
It's beautiful. But that's the only way she's making money. No, I think she does very well in IT. She's a project manager.
Yeah.
I think she makes a shit ton of money there, and then she can just come home and instead of relaxing,
funnel it all into her tunnel.
Go straight into the tunnel, into digging this big hole.
All right, just backtracking a little bit. Your tunnel.
Yes.
I'm surprised at how much your parents were willing to help. If I started digging in the backyard or driveway or wherever on the property, my dad would have been so pissed.
No, so the thing about Alistair, he was a veterinarian. So he was we always had a lot of animals that he had rescued around the house. So he's similar to me in that way. And he also was just extremely hands-on. He saw me doing something outdoors and physical and was great, my nerdy son is out of the house.
Becoming a man.
He's becoming a man. He's digging. Yeah. Maybe this is a father-son project. And so I think he saw it as that.
You guys also lived on a farm?
No, we weren't on a farm.
But a lot of land?
No. This house in Whangarei was just a very small plot, similar to Kayla, the middle of a residential area. And no, I just started digging down, and I think Mum didn't really remember, Dad didn't really remember that much about it either. But he basically, when he saw me wanting to dig horizontally and go under, he was we need to reinforce this with wood or you're going to die. And so I remember being down there, and it was just so quiet and hidden and cool. And it just felt and I had a little door that I could put down over the top when I went down. And I was just lying in there in the darkness in my little tunnel, and I'd just hang out down there. It was great.
Did you have light?
No, dark. When you put the little thing in darkness,
totally dark.
I just lie there in the dark.
You didn't bring your iPhone?
No, I didn't have any. I didn't even have the Alcatel back then. No. Phoneless.
You had a little crank flashlight or anything that you were using?
Nothing. No, just I love being in the dark. It was it was calm and quiet and my secret little thing. Just me and my tunnel. Yeah.
It does remind me a little bit of in Utah. There's this place, Hole in the Rock, that I went to when we did our road trip.
Yeah.
And it was this man that just tunneled into the giant rocks there, and he built a whole home inside these rocks. Like,
see, that's cool.
He had just dug it out. I mean, I think it had a little less risk of
falling on
top because it was just like a giant mountain of rock.
Yeah, that rock's not going to cave in on you.
And it was like really cold.
Yeah, it's like instantly you get away. I mean, we're in a heat wave right now, or it feels like we're in one, and instantly you get rid of that heat.
Did she have lights?
So yeah, she'd done all her own electricity and wiring, and so she had lights all the way down the tunnel. So
like
it felt
mine lights almost that are just
kind of. It felt like you're in a mine, like you're in a movie. So she has it all lit up. She also has like a really good ventilation system because once you're down there, it's like you run out of air, or like not like I can't breathe, but it gets like very stuffy. So she's got this whole system built to like make this thing work. She's got a huge water pump that's now like taking water from the bottom out into her garden and like watering all her plants because like else it gets too wet down there.
What else is down there? Does she have like a couch and a TV?
No, it's just tunnel.
Just tunnel.
It's just like, and that's the thing, like she's not doing it to build a survival bunker or
like a
lair.
hangout
It's
club.
not a man cave. It's like a tunnel for the sake of being a tunnel. It's like you can smell the earth, you can see the rocks, and that's the magic of it. Like no other reason except tunnel.
How wide is it at any given point?
I could stand, I had to duck a little bit, but otherwise I was standing. And I would say it would be out as wide as like my extended hands the whole time.
Okay, so it's not like this big opening that you walk into.
No, the bottom of it,
basketball
the bottom of it, no, the bottom of it is like, because that's where she's hit water and it opens up into like a cavern, but it's little. It's not like a big basketball court sized area. Yeah, it is really hard to describe, but I could say like I can stand in it. I can stand in the tunnel.
Yeah, okay.
And then at the end, it's opening up into what is going to be phase 2, which is going to be going down like outside under her yard and down deeper.
Yeah. And you mentioned Colin Firth, the actor. He likes to dig tunnels too.
Firth.
The King's Speech.
Colin Firth. Not Firth. Definitely not Firth. That would be an amazing like scoop.
I was unaware Colin Firth was so into tunneling.
Your eyes like light up.
I'm very excited.
No, Colin Firth is like, he's like the celebrity of UK tunnelers. So like Carla has America covered and Colin has the UK covered.
Got it.
His tunnel is more, it goes into like a man cave kind of like bunker zone. So it's a bit too slick for my liking. I like that Carla's is like down and dirty, It's like, you can smell like the mud in the air.
Well, and I do like how much of it is just about the process for her. Like that's mainly the point, it seems.
Kind of, yeah. Like I think she just has a very obsessive brain, and she just has taught herself everything. So like all the electrical wiring, that's her. Like learning how to like get into that rock, it's all her.
Yeah.
Like she's built this very hands-on pulley system to like get the rocks out from the sub-basement. So it's just like a hobby that's gotten out of hand almost.
She's just like ripped then if she's doing this
she's
pulley
strong.
system.
Like she's always in these like really like long like floral dresses. So it's like, I think she probably is built under there. Like, cause she's like, these rocks are huge, like tons and tons of rock, and it's just her. She says occasionally family members will come and help, but mostly it is just her doing this. So I would say like if me and her were going to have like a pull-up competition or something, she'd probably win. We didn't do that.
Most definitely win.
Yeah, I mean, she's strong.
She mentioned electrical experiments. Did you dig in? Did you dig into that?
See?
At all?
I kind of wanted to end on that because what blows my mind is I didn't dig into it. I was so transfixed by the tunnel when she said something objectively wild, like I do electrical experiments. I didn't push further.
You probably didn't even clock it until you were listening back to the
Pretty
recording.
much. Yeah, but she is someone that seems to like inventing, so she'll be up in her tower once she's built it doing God knows what. I don't know.
Trying to capture lightning?
Probably capturing lightning, figuring out nuclear fission. I don't know. There'll be some kind of like amazing thing she's probably going to crack.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm excited to hear about the electrical
that'll be
experiments.
part 2, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like I was in a dream the whole time. I feel like she is what I would do if I had like the intelligence and the means to do it. Like she just has taken the love of tunneling and just taken it to a whole other level.
I would just say if you had the singular focus, you would be her.
There's something so satisfying about like an open-ended project like that. That's just like, how far can I go? Like, oh, I've hit a new type of rock. How do I get through this rock? And then you're physically seeing this thing in front of you get longer and expanding. And something about that is like, I think for her is like very satisfying.
Are you starting to dig in your apartment at all?
The annoying thing about, I live on a second floor. There's nowhere to tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, you start digging down.
Start digging down into like whoever's downstairs through the floor. Yeah, it's something. It's funny because this isn't something I've thought about since I was like 10. And so like being in there, like I very much, the feeling of the urge to dig definitely came back. But I've got nowhere to dig.
I mean, I also would imagine digging in California has its own issues because of earthquakes.
Yeah, and it's all just so built up and insane.
Yeah.
You could probably dig on your property. Like you've got some like decent areas you could like dig into, I think.
Yeah. I'm sure the boys would be into it.
Would Natalie like be into possibly digging an underground tunnel?
I don't think she would love if we just started digging underneath.
And I should make it clear, like I think she deserves some pushback for not having a permit. Like if you're going to dig a tunnel under your suburban home, get a permit. I think that seems, because there can be structural issues with the houses around you, obviously. One thing I did, because the internet really did turn on her. Like,
most of what they were mad about, though, seemed like bullshit.
Most of it was absolute bullshit. And going to her house, like she is on a pretty big property. She was on like a decent plot and her house is right in the middle. So her digging down, houses around her were like not affected. It's not like they were going to fall into a hole. And that's what the internet kind of made out like it was going to be.
Well, and if it's a tunnel and not like a giant 2,000 square foot cavern that she's building.
And it's also into solid rock. And I also say she did get permits now. It's all permitted. The city is not going to risk having some maniac digging if it's going to cave in. So I'd say if like the city approves it, it's probably fine.
I think the bigger problem with it is just the risk of it collapsing on her.
100%. I mean, she talked very casually about that tunnel fire that she had, but she seems like very confident that she's got this.
But yeah, she seems like she's gone through and learned what she needs to know about digging tunnels.
I have not met someone this like obsessive on details for like a very long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll keep following her story. If you just Google Tunnel Girl, you'll get like a bunch of the city kind of covered all her permitting process. So if you want more background on her, there's like plenty online. And yeah, I just have my little rock. This is going to sit up on my little shelf, my little memory of this wonderful day I had with Carla.
Yeah.
It's just the best. She's so cool. Feedback? All right. So lots of Streisand effect examples continue to flow in. Mostly the feedback to Coney 2012 was like half people were like, oh, we've never heard of this, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. And half were like, oh yeah, I definitely posted about that. And I very much was into that. And what the hell was that?
Yeah.
Just like a real amazing how big that was and how quickly people kind of like it disappeared. It was there and it was gone.
Yeah.
It was kind of amazing. And I just wanted to read this piece from Jazz. It goes back to the Home Alone house episode. I live adjacent to the house where the Goonies was filmed in Astoria, Oregon.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd get in touch. This past June was the 40th anniversary of the film's release in 1985, and there were thousands of visitors and lots of events over a long weekend. My husband and I have lived in this house for about a year. It's been really interesting to be part of it all. We have hundreds of people walk by our house each day.
I mean, I've almost gone to Astoria to see it too.
So this is almost, I feel like the scope of this is almost more than the Home Alone house, like almost like a bigger touchstone maybe. When we bought our house last year, we made a pact that we wouldn't let the traffic, both cars and foot traffic, from fans get under our skin. We've done pretty well with sticking to that, but some days are harder than others. It's really incredible how many people make the pilgrimage to the house just to take a picture and leave again in 5 minutes. And the bit in the podcast about Home Alone and how the house became a character for people rings very true for the Goonies house as well.
If you haven't seen the Goonies.
So I watched it for the first time like a month ago.
I recall the house in that movie, but the house in Home Alone's such a pivotal part of
completely
the actual movie.
You're right. Like the Goonies house.
Goonies, they're off on a treasure hunt.
They're off on a treasure hunt. It had that
Not
front
in the house.
porch. There were some comical moments.
Yeah.
But you're right. I wonder why that movie was one where they just went that house. Like the house was as much of a feature in that as it was in like multiple big movies from the 80s and 90s.
I mean, you also have the Breaking Bad house in New Mexico. Gets a lot of visitors too.
What I know of it is the homeowner is not particularly into visitors, and that kind of creates an antagonistic thing. And this might be just some bullshit I read on Reddit, but people apparently like to throw pizzas on the roof.
Yeah. No, I've heard about this.
I mean, that would also that's another level. There's one thing visiting a house.
Yeah.
There's another thing with
vandalizing
throwing food on top of it.
Yeah.
So I understand that frustration.
I mean, I think for all of them, it's maybe just proximity to locations where there's a population too. I feel like Astoria is not too far out of the way, where the Home Alone house is a little bit out in the suburbs.
It's a bit more of a hike. Yeah.
And same with New Mexico is maybe.
This is true. The only house in a film or TV show I've ever visited, I think I mentioned this, was the Vin Diesel, his character's house from the Fast and Furious films. It got blown up in, I think, the second to last film. But I went there, and there's a little sign that was like,
purposely?
"Please do not disturb."
You went out.
Absolutely.
Where was it?
It's in LA.
Okay,
yeah, it's
LA.
it would be like a 10-minute drive from here, where we are now. But I just remember there being a sign like, "Please do not knock and disturb us." But there were other people there for the house. That's the only one I've done.
Oh, the Danzig house, though.
On the Danzig house, one of the best houses ever. We should do an episode. If we could get Danzig on this couch one day, that would be a dream. Imagine him sitting there. He's so scary. Danzig,
he's like
if
80
you're
now,
listening,
though, right?
He's getting on. He played at Coachella this year.
Okay.
Danzig was there. I wore our Flightless Bird t-shirt today.
To promote
the
sales.
To promote the show. My friend Charlie designed this shirt, and if you go to flightlessbirdpod.com, you can these ship worldwide. If you want one of these, could be yours. Danzig or anyone, if you want to email us, it's flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com. Love to hear your feedback. Love to hear your tunneling stories. Maybe you're Carla's neighbor and you want to give your feedback.
Or Danzig's neighbor and you can reach him for us.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be really, really good. I have tried reaching out to his team before. Didn't hear back. So that would be great. flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com. If you have been motivated from this episode to dig a tunnel, be safe, follow the city's guidelines, and
get the proper permits.
Get the permits and just
architect,
be aware.
engineer.
Yeah, things can cave in
Yeah.
very easily. Don't want to make light of that. Be careful out there. And see you next week.
Happy digging.
Happy digging.